What I'm saying is, in Genesis account, there is nothing that will contradict real science. Go to Genesis 1. Yeah, just read from verse 1.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty, darkness over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Well, I mean, there was no water on the beginning of the earth. Like the beginning of the earth was like rocky and lava, right?
It doesn't say anything like that. It doesn't say anything like that. It was saying it was formless. It
said darkness. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters.
Yeah, there was water.
It was all lava and rock.
Well, who told you that? Here it says, according to the Bible, it says the water. There was water.
Not
in the
earth.
beginning. That's what it says.
Definitely not before there was light.
Huh?
The earth was created when the sun, the gas in the sun condensed into like the sun, and then from that mass started gathering into planets, right? Those planets became really rocky, and all the lava from the core and everything, and then over time they became water. Let there be light, you could say, is when the sun was created, or just light in general. Water was not before light.
Ben, I think you have to do one thing, okay? When you are reading the Bible, I don't want you to put your scientific, so-called scientific theory into the Bible. Read as it is, and then we can discuss. And there is no evidence that it was rock in the beginning. That's what we assume. There is no scientific evidence for that.
What do you mean?
No, why are you saying that the gases came together? This is what I really wanted to know. I remember the gases came together and formed sun.
Yeah.
That gases only expand. It doesn't contract. Gases never contract by itself. It only expands, according to real science.
No,
that theory is wrong.
No.
Yeah, that theory is wrong. That's the way no sun is forming. That's the theory that you wanted to say, that gas clouds come together, contract itself.
How did the sun form?
Yeah.
The sun formed about 4.6 billion years. A giant spinning cloud of gas and dust called the solar nebula. As the nebula collapsed under its own gravity, it spun faster and flattened into whatever. It became the sun.
Okay, that is a belief system. Is there any observable? No. If sun formed 4.6 or whatever, how long ago was that?
4.6 billion years ago.
4.6 billion years ago. What prevents it forming again, gas clouds coming together and forming another sun?
They're constantly forming.
No, there is absolutely no evidence for that. That's your belief system. That's the way you are taught. Absolutely no evidence.
New stars forming. Produces 3 to 4 new stars every year on average. The Milky Way produces 3 to 4 new stars every year.
Where is that?
It comes from Harvard.
Yeah, but where is the observable evidence for that? That's their theory. That's their theory. Yeah.
On a macro scale. I mean, through eons, right? Like you can't look at a star forming. It happens over like millions and millions of years.
Okay, now you are saying you cannot see that. So we
have models to
I think
to
you are
describe it.
Okay. We have models. I can see that you can come up with a model, but no one has an observable evidence. No one is observing that stars are being formed.
Yes,
never.
They're observing the gases moving, observing the gravitational pull. We're not like literally watching it like condense in on itself like in a second. We're watching it over time condense in on itself.
Yeah, that's the theory. That's the theory. But we are assuming that is what is happening. But we have no evidence for it. We are assuming that is how, because
the radius of the nebula getting smaller is the star condensing and forming. The nebula condensing is its radius getting smaller. If we observe that, that's just what it shows.
Ben,
a theory is an explanation.
Ben,
that's all it is.
I think, I would love to have you send me this information that we have nebulas forming, slowly forming, and that those are becoming stars.
Okay.
I would love you to send me that. No, those are not forming. That's the theory people are proposing. Actually, those are not happening.
Wait, how can you say they're just not happening?
Because it's not happening. That's why if it is
You know,
if you are talking about
that's the point.
science,
No, when
That's
we're
the
talking about burden
belief
of
system.
proofs, it's the burden of the proof, of the scientists to show that it's happening, right?
Yes.
And so they've given you evidence to show it's happening. Here it's talking about they're looking at the magnetic field around the nebula systems, right? So the way we define a star is condensed amount of gas, right? That's like constantly, I think it's fission is happening in it, right? That the theory is the explanation of a star, right? And so what we're looking for is something that matches that, right? We found something that matches it. We found a nebula that's condensing into a star.
Okay, my friend, looking at looking at some magnetic field, you are inferring certain other things that this is what is happening.
Like what?
You are saying that stars are being formed, right? Where is it? That's my.
The definition of a star being formed is what we're observing. That's the point. Like we're not saying that like a special, I don't know, whatever. Like
This is-
a
Ben, this is-
magical star is formed. We're
No,
saying
no.
that this is what is the result of this. We're saying when you have a condensed amount of gas, that becomes a star.
But gas doesn't condense itself. You have to
No, under
understand.
its own
It only
gravitational field, it
expands.
does.
Eh?
Under a when it there's enough
Yeah.
gas to form a gravitational field, it does.
In order for you to have gravitational force, you also have
Just have to have
there
mass.
had to be some condensed material already there. Otherwise, you have no gravitational force.
No,
So the gases will not condense by itself. It only expands.
The nebula is huge, right? And in the center of it, there's just, I mean, what would happen is there's just more gas in the center, right? And so gas is being pulled in, and there's more and more gas being condensed into the center.
Ben, that's what I am saying. That's what I am saying.
Yeah.
Even if you see, this is what they are assuming what is happening.
They're
But
observing it.
no stars are being formed anywhere in
3
the
to 4
universe.
3 to
At
4
least,
stars
at
a
least
year.
based on observable evidence.
No. The observable evidence shows
Yeah,
that 3
which
to 4
site
stars
is
a
that?
year.
Yeah, which site is that?
Harvard.
It doesn't matter, Harvard. They have been wrong in many things, right? You know
Sure,
that
but this is
scientists have
pretty
been wrong.
basic science.
But look at
Science
no,
having been wrong does not say that any science is wrong. Is definitely wrong.
no,
This is like this is basic science that's been peer reviewed. That
No.
means it's trustable.
You see, when you cannot, anything that you call science, if you cannot demonstrate that with repeated
but
experiments,
I'm saying it is.
those are
demonstrated.
just a theory or inference from something. You are postulating something. That doesn't mean that it is true.
Look, there are links like so many articles right
You know,
here
it doesn't.
showing how.
I want you to read one article that is one journal article or anything, rather than because these people write about something and they believe certain things and write accordingly, and their opinion is there. Then you would see words like this: we believe, we believe, we believe. In many articles you will see that, scientific articles. Those are their faith system. When they say we believe this is happening,
They don't have
we
it based
believe.
on faith. They have it based on evidence, and that's
that's
why they use
evidence.
science to change
But-
their beliefs.
No.
Because once that's the difference between science and faith. Faith,
No.
Science, you take evidence and you change your beliefs. Faith, you take evidence and you throw it out to keep your beliefs.
No. No. I told you the faith I have. It is based on evidence. But this is what I am saying. When you are talking
I'm saying
about
your evidence is invalid,
Huh?
and I'm saying your evidence is invalid
Why?
because there's no reason to believe in the Bible.
Huh?
And because there's no reason to believe in the Bible, and so
Why?
there is reason to believe in the
Why?
Bible,
It's a-
and so there's nothing in the Bible that doesn't match up
you-
to reality,
if
then
you-
I'm showing you
no.
something that doesn't match up to reality.
If you are talking about the New Testament, if you are talking
You have to
about
take up both testaments, then.
okay, even then, you want to talk to if you want to take a Genesis account, it is not against reality.
But that's exactly what we're saying.
Huh.
There was not water on the earth before there was light. The light.
How do you know that?
Light
How do you
existed
know that?
Before the earth.
No, how do you know there was no water before the light?
Star had to exist before Earth. The sun existed before the Earth existed.
According
Right.
to who?
I mean, it's general scientific knowledge.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Those are belief system. Because
not-
you do not know. It is like looking at your cycle.
You are trying to equate the scientific belief to religious belief. They're not one and the same.
No, when you do not have either observable evidence or an evidence from a repeated experiment, that is a faith system. You have to agree that it doesn't matter you call it science.
Evidence that the sun existed before the earth.
What evidence is that? Give me that evidence.
How do we know that the sun existed before the... Okay, space.com. Sun... So yeah, I guess about 4.5 billion years ago, the sun formed from the gases condensing.
Okay.
And then...
You know, this is what is happening. You just accept whatever you hear in your classes, whatever your professors say. You don't question them. But when I say something, you want to question.
Oh no!
But you do not do.
I've questioned these beliefs all my life. I've been showed ample evidence for that they're true.
No, where is evidence? That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah,
I'm asking you.
Formation of the Earth, National Geographic. Okay, it started as a cloud of dust and gas, whatever. A year ago, Earth, along with the rest of the soul, is entirely unrecognizable. It's only as an enormous cloud of dust and gas. Which actually does a little bit fit into your Bible because it says formless. Okay. As the faster the cloud spun, the more the dust and gas became concentrated at the center, further fueling the speed of the nebula. Over time, the gravity at the center of the cloud became so intense that hydrogen atoms began to move around rapidly and violently. The hydrogen protons began fusing from helium and releasing massive amounts of energy. Instead of the formation of the star, the center point of our solar system, the sun, roughly 4.6 billion years ago. And the formation of the sun consumed more than 99% of the matter of the nebula. The remaining material began to coalesce into various masses. The cloud was still spinning, and clumps of matter continued to collide with others. Eventually, some of those clusters of matter grew large enough to maintain their own gravitational pull, which shaped them into the planets and dwarf planets to make up our solar system today. Earth is one of the 4 inner terrestrial planets of the solar system. Yeah.
That's a good belief system. That's a good belief system. If you go back to the first sentence you read, like protons collided together, all this, where can you observe that now?
In the Hadron Super Collider.
Yeah, we are making it happen, but still, it did not prove anything so far. They wasted billions of dollars there.
We do fusion all the time, and nuclear fusion is the same thing that's happening in the sun. Okay,
that's what we believe. It is happening. Hydrogen is burned, then it becomes helium, then helium is burned, it becomes a carbon, then it eventually burn and it will die out like when it comes to iron or something. So that's what we believe. Okay? But the problem is you are saying that these gases are contracting by itself to produce sun. That's against the science. That's against science.
When it spins around, they coalesce towards the center, forming even stronger gravitational pull, making it spin even faster. But you can show it yourself. When you get a spinning chair, when you have your arms out, you move slower. When you take them in, you move faster.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. You can, but that doesn't mean that this become is hot. This become sun. Gases contract by itself to become sun, because the observable evidence say gases expand. It doesn't,
They expand when there's not enough of a gravitational pull pulling them together. Yeah, of course they expand unless you have a gravitational pull.
That's what I'm saying. Where did they get the gravitational pull in the first place?
When the Big Bang happened and shot everything out into space, right? There's enough gas in one place that it all just happened to go that way.
When Big Bang happens, say, even if I grant you that Big Bang happened, it is going all over the place, right? It is going all over the place. It is expanding, right? It is not contracting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point.
That doesn't prove that gas expands. It doesn't prove that gas can't condense.
This is what I see. You blindly believe what is written somewhere, even if it is against real science.
But it's not against real science.
It is.
Gas can condense.
Okay. Okay, in what way? If you gas can condense,
If you put
only
if you put a cold water bottle down,
Okay.
right, gas will condense to form water on
No.
the surface of it.
When you
That's
ta-
still gas
when-
condensing.
When you
Well, clouds in
cool
the
a
sky
gas.
is
No.
Clouds in the sky are condensed gas
Yeah. But it will not produce heat.
because it's not nearly enough. The sun
You can-
has so in a conceivably large amount of gas in it.
Ben,
That's so
Ben,
packed
Ben,
so tightly together is creating fusion.
Ben,
That's the entire
Ben,
point.
You can condense gas by cooling it down.
Mm-hmm.
And as you cool it down, it doesn't produce heat within itself.
Actually, I'm
Are
pretty
you
sure
following
it's
me?
an endothermic reaction. I think it does produce heat.
So,
I think the condensation gas.
you are saying that when gases
Or exothermic
condense,
reaction,
when gases condense, it will eventually form something like a sun.
Nothing.
Then
even
this was
close
your
to the
theory,
sun.
original
You need
theory.
An insane amount of gas, the amount of gas
No.
required for a sun, for it to
No.
condense into a sun.
Now-
They need eons and eons.
Can you give me one experiment to prove what you just said? One experiment.
Any nuclear facility. is
Okay,
a
now
large
you are
neutron
going to
provider.
nuclear. So we were talking about gas condensing. In order for gas to condense, you have to cool it down. Otherwise, it is going to expand. It doesn't condense. So I don't see anything in the Genesis, even if you wanted to go to Genesis, anything written in Genesis that is against real science. Hello, do you have a question to me?
Yes.